Coach, when you look at what you lost in Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, do you think you can make up some of that production with a guy like JuJu Schuster and James Conner?
Well, just like we talked about yours and Nick's chemistry, it's the same thing here. This is
exactly the same.
This is a chemistry experiment in Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh historically has been the family that's always had a little bit of dysfunction, and they've been able to operate well in that world, succeed in that world, and deal with some personalities that were pretty strong personalities that may not fit in other locker rooms. Now they've moved those guys on, and they feel like they're at a space where everybody's getting along really well. I want to see how that works out. In terms of production, Le'Veon Bell wasn't there last year. We saw what happened with James Conner.
Yes.
He did a really good job. Lost something in the passing game, but gained something in the running game in terms of yards per carry. In the passing game, to replace Antonio Brown, that's really hard. He's uniquely gifted. And with JuJu Schuster-Smith, he benefited from the fact that Antonio was there. Now, that being said, I truly believe that Ben Roethlisberger can make stars out of people. So they've got some candidates there. We'll see where Dante Moncrief comes in. We'll see where Dante Johnson, who they drafted in the 3rd round, comes in. We'll see where James Washington, their 2nd-round draft pick,
from a year ago,
was a little bit disappointing last season. But all 3 of those guys have a chance to pop with Ben.
And they would hope that Jalen Samuels, their backup running back, can replace some of the Le'Veon Bell receiving production, because that's not James Conner's strong suit. I'm less concerned about them not having Le'Veon Bell, only because they didn't have him last year. And we saw what James Conner looked like over the course of a season. There's a problem, I think, that some people are going to have with evaluating what the Steelers will be, which is saying, well, JuJu last year had 1,500 yards receiving. Obviously, he'll be able to duplicate that now as a more primary role in the offense. I don't think that is necessarily how this is going to work. I think JuJu is a nice player who benefited enormously from never being the receiver defenses were most concerned with. And so with Antonio gone, it's not just that other guys need to step up. You need JuJu to maintain, and I think that's going to be very difficult. That's not about Big Ben, who I think led the league in passing last year as far as passing yards. He has been able to maintain at a really high level for, this is now going to be his 16th year in the NFL, but this will be the least established receiving core he's had in quite some time. And what does JuJu look like when he's the one getting double-teamed instead of being the one to benefit from AB getting double-teamed?
The Pittsburgh Steelers have done a tremendous job through the years of developing wide receivers, regardless of where they drafted them. There was a question in Pittsburgh, would Ben Roethlisberger be the quarterback when they lost Hines Ward? Will he be the quarterback when they lose Jerome Bettis and they went to a more advanced passing? So he has already made names. Antonio wasn't no name. He made a name of him. Emmanuel Sanders, he wasn't no name. He made it. The only name receiver he had was he had Holmes, and he had but he wasn't made. He was drafted. He was produced there, and Hines Ward. The other guys, he made them. So Coach Mangini's point, as far as these younger guys having to step up, it becomes very important. I think that the hidden gem in this is Vance McDonald, the tight end. Can we get him down the middle of the field? I believe there should be a lot more reps going to the tight end because he adds a little speed, adds a little different flavor, and it will take the pressure off the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the number one thing they have right now, they got a very good offensive line. They have a very good running back in James Conner. They have to run the ball to force people into the box. You can't expect JuJu Schuster have 1,500-yard season. You know why? I never had a 1,500-yard season. Never. Zero.
That's wild.
Zero. So you talking about, oh, he's going to come back a little bit. A little bit. A great season is 1,200 yards. He's getting ready to come back a whole bunch because we don't need Ben to throw for 5,000 yards. Those stats are a little misleading. 5,000 yards lead the league, but you missed the playoffs. It's about winning games. Play to your defense. Your defense is going to be a little more rugged. That offense got to be a little more rugged. You can't be a 3-receiver, 1-back offense 80% of the time the way the Steelers used to be, Coach.
And there were a lot of years where we played Pittsburgh, and you knew that it was going to be a certain type of game. It was going to be a physical game defensively, and you had to be physically tough defensively as well because they were going to run the ball consistently. They were going to test you in that arena, and then you had to deal with Ben's arm and everything he could do in the passing game, and it opened so many things up. And now there was this conflict as to, do you put 8 in the box to try to stop the run, or do you keep the guys back to try to deal with Ben? And they got lopsided last year. And to Chris's point, to be able to go back and be more balanced in the running game could be huge for them, and could also help out the young defense. Could help time of possession and control those games.
Nick, this is a team that had no Antonio Brown last year, or that had Antonio Brown and no Le'Veon Bell this year, and missed the playoffs. Now they don't have either of their 2 biggest offensive weapons. Set the landscape for this.
Well, they will obviously. The one part of this we haven't talked about is the defense will have to be far better. Like we talked all last year how they were never able to replace Ryan Shazier. I think. What are you laughing about?
I was waiting for you to get your schedule. Where's your schedule?
Give me a moment.
As soon as Jet had transitioned, I thought, oh, it's schedule time.
Well, I mean, they do start off at New England as touchdown underdogs for Seattle. It's not the easiest 2 games to start the year. But that's not where I was going to go. That's not where I was going to go with it.
Okay.
They drafted Devin Bush in the first round, hoping he can fill that void as quarterback of the defense that tragically Ryan Shazier was filling so well until he suffered that awful injury. But the other thing the Steelers have working against them, and this isn't a scheduled thing, but it's a cousin of that, they are in one of 3 divisions in football that I think people are credibly picking 3 different teams to, like the NFC North has 3 teams you can make a case for: Green Bay, Chicago, Minnesota. That is a tough division. The NFC South, New Orleans, Atlanta, Carolina. The only division in the AFC like that where you have 3 of your 4 teams that credibly could win the division is the AFC North. Baltimore won it last year, Cleveland, who's the trendy pick, and Pittsburgh, who we're talking about right now. So in addition to having to play New England like they seemingly do every year, getting Seattle, who I just mentioned, they also are going to have that very difficult division to get through. And so the defense is going to have to be better. The running game, to these guys' points, is going to have to be more consistent to where you're not relying on Ben to throw for 5,000 yards. And you are going to need Big Ben to continue on the Brady Breeze trend, which is, man, your 16 ain't nothing. Not when I'm about to play 20. And it is, I wonder if we've been tricked a little bit at how often quarterbacks are going to be able to do that because Brady and Breeze are doing it so well. We'll see that with Ben and Phillip Rivers this season as they both enter year 16.
I think we're going to see more of that.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.